Hi everyone and welcome to the SWPL My Story podcast. We are joined today by Kaela McDonald-Nguah, who's going to talk about her career and her story. So Kaela, just tell us a little bit of how you actually got into football, what inspired you, what support did you have from your family to get you into playing?
So I think kind of just grew up around football. My mum would always have it on the TV kind of type thing, but we actually started out with dancing. That was what I was pushed into. But I think I kind of turned around one day and said I wanted to try football, and so my mum, being supportive, took me along. I think it'd be a phase, but I think that's almost like 16, 17 years later. I'm still at it. So.
Brilliant. And what was your first club?
My first club was Livingston FC Boys Club.
And were there any girls in that club?
There wasn't. I was the only one at the time.
So how did you find that, being the only girl there? Were the boys accepting of you, or have you came across some stumbling blocks during that time?
I think my first boys club, I was quite lucky. They were all very accepting. I think especially because I was like not a standout, but a decent player for them as well. So I think that they found that almost exciting that they had a girl on their team that was like quite good. But actually towards the end of my time there, then started becoming an issue more with like parents and things like that. So I actually had to move on to another boys club. But again, they were like exceptional. Again, they were really, really welcoming, and I didn't feel like I was like someone different there.
Oh, great. So off the back of that, you've then played at your boys' clubs, and then the move to Celtic happened. So, like, how old were you when that happened, and how did that come about?
So it's a funny story really. So I was 9 at the time, and I used to get a Celtic annual every Christmas. And I think we opened it one day at Christmas time, and it actually had the pyramids of the academies at the time. So it was the boys' academy, and at the time we saw it was actually a girls' academy as well. And my mum was like, "Oh." My mum is kind of out there, so she decided to phone up a number that she saw on the annual. I think it was Paul Brownlee actually. And weirdly enough, there was going to be trials for an under-11s in like the next couple of weeks. So I was invited through and had a couple of trials there and kind of got locked in from there.
And what about your move to Spartans? What age did that happen at?
So I believe I was 16, 17 at the time. So it was a loan for the season, and then the following season I decided to make it permanent.
Right across. And how did you find that? Was it different from playing at Celtic to Spartans?
I think it was a lot different. It was a different environment, I think, as well. Especially, it was a big jump with it being like, I'd been at Celtic since I was 9, and I was used to, not even standards, but just kind of certain ways that you do things. And obviously, Spartans was a lot different, but like in a lot of good ways, it was different as well.
So when you've made that move, you went on loan, and you're making that adjustment. You're moving from girls to ladies football. How did you find the demands of that and trying to push to become a first team regular when you've made that switch?
I think it seemed okay at the time, but I think as like the kind of seasons go past, you learn more and more. So like looking back now, I think like physically you think, oh, I can match them like in training and things like that, but then you realise in the games, it's maybe not, you can't, it's not consistent enough. I think as well like the mental demands as well, having to like find out like how people kind of train and how they work, and also like tactically, like a lot of things like that. At the time where I wasn't entirely sure, I was just kind of a young kid running about like a headless chicken at times, which would sometimes work, but I think those kind of type things are a bit more difficult, but obviously across the seasons, hopefully adjusted to them now.
And how did you find integrating yourself within the first team players? Were they accepting of you, or did they challenge you to try, for your own benefit, to try and push you on, because they could obviously see the potential that was in you, and how much you would add to the squad? But getting a younger player to come and integrate into that team can sometimes be a bit challenging. So how did you find it working with them?
I find it really, really good, to be fair. I think at first there was maybe a few people like, oh, like Celtic send someone on loan here, like, oh, like, who is this kind of type thing. But I've never been a person that's like full of myself or anything. Like, I'm quite a people person, so I think I adjusted quite well, just because when they said that, I was like someone that just wanted to get my head down and play football. That they were all very, very welcoming, and ended up making some really good friends there.
So What about your move to Motherwell? You want to tell us about that one?
Yeah, so I think I just kind of decided I needed a change, and it was Eddie Black at the time that was at Motherwell, and had a chat with him, and just seemed like a club that was hopefully going to be moving in a good direction. So kind of upped my things and moved across the M8.
So obviously it was a big season for Motherwell last season. How would you reflect on that?
Yeah, no, I think it was massive. I think looking at it as players, it was kind of bittersweet because we missed out on top six, and that was the aim of the season. But the fact that we went on the cup run, and in the first season of the semi-finals and the final being playing at Hampden, then the fact that we made it there, and we gave such a great account of ourselves on the day as well against Rangers. I think it was something that it was a big highlight for us, and it's something that hopefully we can push on and better this year. So
obviously, and sorry for bringing it up, but you were injured at the time, but you're still obviously a massive part of the squad. But just being there for the preparation, being at Hampden, am I right thinking you went the day before or just to get a feel for it? But then when match day comes, even if you weren't in the squad, but you still have those excitement and nerves and everything that goes with playing. So how did that feel actually being there on the day?
Yeah, no, I think it was still quite surreal. Obviously, I was absolutely gutted that I couldn't play, but this is football and these things happen. But yeah, no, we'd went along earlier in the week and got a feel for it, and then on the day as well, again, like you said, myself and other injured players were still a part of the squad, so you were still kicking every ball with everyone, and you felt the nerves and you felt the tension, but you felt the excitement. So it was a great day, and I think as well, just even still having your families there as well, it was still a proud moment because every single person, even if they were there or not, we're part of the squad that got us there in the first place.
Amazing. So that must seem a proud moment for you. So how did you feel playing for Scotland in your youth?
No, I think it's hard to find words, to be honest. Like I think you say surreal and it was exciting, but I think looking back, like it's some of the best highlights of like my football career. Getting to play like your best pals, or represent your country. And I've been lucky enough to travel all across the world, places like Kazakhstan and like Serbia. I don't think they would have been on my bucket list for holiday destinations, but just experiencing like different styles of play and things like that, I think I really enjoyed them.
Oh, that's great. And now that you've obviously came out of the youth setup, is it still an ambition of yours to reach those levels and challenge yourself to try and achieve like full international caps?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely still the dream. Something obviously working towards, but I think there's a few steps, a few milestones probably in between that just now. But it's actively where I'm trying to be. Yeah.
Okay, so with the viewers and the listeners that we are going to have for watching this today, I think what we're about to discuss is going to be relatable to them. So you've finished university now, but you were doing that alongside football, alongside working. You were in national performance based at the Orium as well. So you just kind of sum all of that up and how demanding it was for you, and like what a regular day would look like for yourself.
Yeah, I think even looking back, I'm like, that's chaos. I don't know if I can manage that now. But like, yes, like you said, I was at the Performance Academy. So that, for example, we trained in the morning, 7 in the morning, and that was Monday to Friday. So it was 5 days a week. So for example, I would get up, have your session 7 till 8 or 8:15, and then sometimes it'd be a sprint back over, get showered, changed, kind of get everything sorted, and then you were off to. I went to college first, so it was college, which was down at Granton, so try to get down the the bypass, even try to just bypass the traffic and get there in time, and then you'd be in there 9 till 3, 9 till 4, sometimes 9 till 5, and then it was training at night, which would have been 6 to half 7, and then the time you get home, showered, changed, you're in bed and then you're back up again the next morning. So, and also at the time as well, I had to have a part-time job, just to keep myself going in terms of funds, so I would work on Saturday in the market, so the only kind of day off that you actually had was the Sunday, which was to play your game. So, but yeah, it was very, very hectic.
But it just goes to show the type of commitment that you're going to need if you want to be a top level player. But it's that dedication and discipline and sacrifice a lot as well to get there, which obviously you've done as hard as it is at times.
Yeah, no, I think looking back, like it taught me a lot. Like even now, like the way I kind of live my life. You know, it's not as maybe as chaotic as that, but in that sense of like the volume of training. But I think, you know, just kind of keeping yourself going and kind of keeping yourself at those standards that you've kind of learned through the years, I think was really, really important. But obviously it is doable, and I think, like you said, it's something, especially in the women's game, it's so important that you kind of have the motivation to try and balance these things, because, you know, we're not at a point right now where, you know, you can go straight into like academies and then that's your full time from the age 12, 13. But hopefully somewhere that we'll get to that point. But yeah, I think it's important that, you know, the young girls, you know how to balance, and you're looking out for your academics as well, because football's not forever as well.
So all your challenges that you have been through, we want to talk on like your experience of racism in football now as well, and what more could be done to eradicate that.
Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to speak on like a few platforms. I think, you know, Show Racism Red Card being one of them, about my experiences in racism in football, and obviously it's unfortunate that it's something I've experienced a few times. I think, you know, in Scotland, and I think as well the one I've speak about mainly is the one with was on international duty with Scotland's youth teams. So. But yeah, I think in terms of what we can do, I always talk about education. I think that kind of falls in line with Show Racism Red Card. You know, they do a lot of great work in Scotland, and obviously in the UK as well. But I've been lucky enough to kind of go along and help deliver workshops to like young kids, and I think you see the kind of the benefits that it has in terms of, you know, kids obviously learning like the kind of language that is not appropriate, but maybe like the parents think's appropriate, but also just in general like how you can be kind of keep people more equal in terms of not excluding anyone for any reason. You just kind of see people the same.
And is that, obviously you'd be hugely proud of the role that you're playing in that, but do you feel like a responsibility as a role model playing in the SWPL, being very visual when you're out there on the pitch and people looking up to you? Do you feel that it's a role that you kind of relish as well, and think that you can use your platform to help that?
Yeah, I think I won't lie. I think at the start it was something, when it all kind of started for me in my journey in terms of talking about it. It was something I was petrified of. You know, I'd never really spoken out about it before, and I didn't see myself as a kind of a role model in that sense. But when the opportunity came, I took it, and you know, I've had opportunities since then. I think I've also had people reach out on different levels, and kind of people from different like populations, and just kind of impact that it's had on them. It was kind of eye opening for me to see that I could have an impact that way. So now I feel like it's a responsibility, like for me to speak out and help people understand, and also help people like myself growing up, you know, that they're not kind of alone, and unfortunately these things happen, but there's ways that, you know, we can push forward, and hopefully it stops becoming like a regular occurrence type thing.
Brilliant. Okay, so obviously in the last few years it's been such a massive growth in the women's game in Scotland in particular, and there's been a lot more investment. It's now being seen on TV highlight shows every week. Games are on Sky Sports as well. But at the age that you're at the moment and where you are in your career, where do you see the game going over maybe the next 5 years, and how it can continue to grow, and how that could be helped by more investment and other organisations getting involved?
I think the kind of exciting thing is that you can't really see like the limit of it, which is really, really good, because in the last few years it has been crazy. Like, I think I hear like more experienced players talking about how these opportunities wouldn't have come about when they were playing, but I think even in my short career I've seen vast differences, and also like you say, in the investment, the media coverage. You know, you look at obviously like the Women's World Cup's on TV. Like you said, we've got the highlight show every Monday, which is on BBC. We've had games on Sky Sports, and it's all kind of things that, you know, you'd never seen before. Like when I first started, like I didn't even know that, you know, it could be a potential career, and now, you know, it's something that a lot of girls now can go out and start playing, and they know that that's what they want to do, and that's where they can strive to be. So I think it's really, really exciting.
Okay, so your fantasy five-a-side team with players that you've played with over the years, who would you choose?
Who would I choose? Goalkeeper, definitely have to choose my flatmate and Motherwell keeper. It's Emily Much, so she doesn't.
You kind of have to put her in,
Yeah,
don't you?
otherwise you might have the keys changed. So I want to sleep somewhere tonight. I think I'll definitely have Jamie Lee Napier in there. You know, she's doing really, really well for herself. A great player. I think Kerry Montgomery as well, someone who I've been lucky enough to play with at Celtic. Bit of a warrior, if you ever saw her play. So definitely have her in a 5-side team. What's that? 3 now. Need 2 more.
2 more.
2 more. Who are we going with? I think I would definitely have Alana Marshall in there.
Mm-hmm.
Left footer. Just a bit of
Just
variation.
bit of balance.
Bit of balance as well, but technically unbelievable as well. So definitely have her in there. And what's this, my last one?
Yeah, final spot.
Final
no pressure.
spot. Oh, I can just see everyone texting me later like, where was mine? I'll throw in Chelsea Watson just because she's centre half at Motherwell, but she's an absolute winner. Hates losing and have to deal with her moaning every time she loses. So I know that she would definitely pull my team through.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think that team would definitely be up for any challenge. Brilliant. So thanks very much, Kaela, for joining us today. And thanks everyone for listening and watching to SWPL My Story.